I'm the attorney for Mr. Mustafa Eckerman. As you probably recall, I've been here before. We're here in April. We took a continuance to have an opportunity to go back and have an engineer look at the proposal that we have for the land use variance for 3029 Veterans Highway. I don't know that I need to go through my presentation, which we did last time. I think we just need to go to Mr. Richardson, who is the engineer or representative from Dumac Engineering, that we gave him the plans for the 3029 Veterans Highway and how we wanted to use that property as a used car lot. And he created a diagram, and he's willing to explain it now. Do you think we should go there, or would you like me to reiterate the benefits?
Before we go any further, Mr. Valentine, did you meet with council at all on this application?
I did talk to Mr. Fetterman, and we did talk to Tom Scott. We did have a meeting with Tom Scott as to what the requirements were or what we were looking to do. Okay. So I think we cleared the air in that area.
Okay. Well, Mr. Scott.
Yeah, I didn't tell him what the requirements are. I said, you need to give us a plan that shows what the zoning requirements are. To be clear.
And he cleared the air for us for that. Yes.
Were these plans submitted?
I got this today. This one we're looking at today.
It's my understanding that Ken Fetterman did not receive those today when we had spoken in the afternoon.
The plans is only a one diagram. We just brought the engineer to explain the diagram and what they did, because we left it in their hands. I don't know that we had to submit the diagram to Mr. Fetterman.
Well, the last meeting was you were to speak with Tom Scott, you were to speak with council, sit down and with an engineer, get parking spots for off-street parking, because that's a big issue. We have not had any plans submitted to us as far as the zoning board goes. So I don't know. Do you want to continue with this?
Can I add something?
Absolutely, Colin. Go right ahead.
In the April meeting, it was also requested that you guys submit your December 2020 proposal that came to the zoning hearing board, because there are 2 new members here, and we've yet to receive the information as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's the applicant, up to the applicant to do. I think that was more of Ken to submit that email. So what do you think, Jan?
Well, I also know that Mr. Scott had brought up at the prior meeting in April about other variances that might need to be addressed before the board, not just the use variance and the parking variance. And he wanted, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, that you wanted more of a idea of what other matters might be needed when you did meet with the applicant, as far as the other variances that might need to come into play for the property.
Yeah, right now, the only thing on the table is a use variance, and it's a considerable hurdle, especially in light of the fact that the nearly identical issue was already decided. But, so the idea was that to do some sort of engineering review of the property, to come up with a list of zoning criteria to see whether or not there are any other variances needed. For instance, off-street parking. I don't know, because I'm sure they're going to, if they want to, they can proceed and tell the board if the board wants to hear it about what's going on this plan. But we did not review it, and I don't know if, which is not unusual. People bring stuff into hearings all the time, but Right now, the only thing on the table is a use variance.
Well, and here's another issue, and Colleen brought it up. Ed and Colleen were not part of the first presentation, which Mr. Mustafa was not part of that. So now he's a different applicant than the first applicant you brought before us. That's correct.
And it is noted that at this point, it's a different application with a different party, and I believe that that was all understood from the prior meeting, that there was no res judicata issue.
From the April meeting, yes, I think we came to that conclusion.
I don't think we did.
Okay.
I know in speaking to Ken that he had stated that at this point, the collateral estoppel argument for the board to raise might, he wanted to have it proceed as far as the use variance, but the other applications as well, and he was unaware of any other applications being made right now, which Mr. Scott clarified that there are no other applications before the board, just the use variance, which is, which we would have to still decide with the parking.
Are you prepared to make the presentation, a whole presentation tonight?
We're prepared to make a complete presentation, and we brought the engineer with us. I have to apologize, I was under the impression since we're just looking at the variance, at the use variance, and how we want to deal with off-street parking. We hired an engineering firm, and they're here to present that part of the information.
Well, yeah, in the last meeting, that was part of it.
Right.
But, I mean, this is like getting thrown on us last minute. No submitted plans. Yeah, you got the engineer here tonight, but we haven't seen them plans.
You haven't had time to review them.
No. So, take.
May I have a minute?
Yeah,
Let me talk
absolutely.
to people and see what we
Absolutely.
probably need to do. I understand the situation.
I see. I don't think I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, talk with your client. Go ahead, sir.
I'm still interested in what you're going to say.
No, you don't. Believe me, you're not interested in what I
Okay.
have to say.
In that case, based on our conversation now and understanding that we're probably not exactly where we need to be because of the situation, we would ask for a continuance to next month, and then we can give us time to prepare and submit the plans to the board, and then come back in next month with a complete presentation, and the board would understand where we're coming from.
I need a motion to get, anybody else have anything to add to this before I ask for continuance? I need a motion for a continuance, please.
I'll make a motion for continuance to next month.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. All right, you got to continue this till next month.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Jane and Jason Evans, 2 Ridge Lane, Levittown, PA, 19055. Please come on up. Please state your name for the record and sworn in, please.
Jane Evans.
Jason Evans.
Please raise your right hands, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? I do. Thank you. And please just talk one at a time.
Okay, that's
fine.
She'll probably do majority of the talking.
So we're asking for variance to install a pool on our property, and the reason why we're asking for it is basically it's the only spot on our property that we can put a pool. Back in 2003, their previous owners had a pool and asked for a variance on the property.
I don't want to interrupt, I'm sorry. Ms.
It's
Evans.
okay.
I just want the record to reflect that we did receive the proper mail-ins and the notice to the property owners, and that the property was properly posted.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, continue, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. It's okay. And the previous owners before asked for a variance on it back in 2003, and it was granted. We are asking for the same reasons. On the other side of our property, we have a 10-foot sewer easement that goes on, so we cannot put a pool there. And then in the back, a little bit further up, we actually have a utility pole on our property. I did draw it on there to kind of show you where it's at. That goes across, and based on the rules, you're not allowed to put a pool in that area. So we would like to put a pool in the same exact spot that it was previously put, the same exact dimensions. The hole's actually still there from before, so.
The only thing that would be different at all would be the upgraded electric code. We're having an electrician come in to put new wiring and everything else in. Because from my understanding, the codes have changed, so everything will be all brand new electrically.
Is that all you got for us?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
We do have a fence around our yard too, 6 foot.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Do you guys have any pending litigation with any of your neighbors? Is there any lawsuit? Okay, there is.
Yep.
You mind getting this?
Well,
I know about this more than my wife does. Oh, I'm sorry. So, I know more about the issues with my one neighbor, so that's why I'm asking to speak. The issue with my neighbor is we have a permit. We had a permit from Bristol Township for a fence around our property. Our fence was installed. We have something called a setback or a set-in. Therefore, my fence is not on my property line, it's set in, so we can maintain the outside of our fence. I maintain my property. The new owners of this home, been there approximately 2.5 years, maybe coming up on 3, have the home. There is a small dispute because I asked them, I told them this is my property, I maintain it. They disputed it. I said, fine, no big deal. I said, we'll discuss it later. I'm having my property surveyed, in which I paid for a surveyor. I have all the plans. I have updated everything. We actually sent it to your email, so you have one. We actually have newer copies also. So we have a surveyor. We have proof that it's our property. And at this point now, we're still sitting in limbo, and they don't talk to us. We don't talk to them. Hence why we sent out the certified letter. Go ahead.
and then during COVID, they actually put up a fence without getting a permit on our property.
There's a lot of encroachment issues that we're trying to
So,
deal with.
yeah. So, but we need to go to Doylestown to handle that,
We were
from what
told-
my understanding is, because we actually asked the courts, we asked the courts over here, we asked before, when it was Wagner's office, what we need to do, and they said they do not handle any of that, that you have to go to the courts.
When the police were called out to our home, literally 3 times, we showed the police officers, and we have all 3 things. You can see them if you want to, bring them in if you need them. We showed them the documents we have. They said, we see your property surveyed. We see there's an issue. The police officers asked us kindly, do not go on the property that you're claiming is yours until the issue is handled. We have not been on there. I have not even maintained it at all. I have let them handle the issue. But the stakes are still there. They were already told, do not touch my property until the issue's handled. So we're respecting the issues. There's no problem. Anything more with the, I can tell you dimensions and all from where we own on the other side, because it actually is a little off.
It's about 2 feet.
Yeah, it's about 2 feet in the front, 24 inches. It's right under 20, it's 23.98, I think. And the very back side, it's 15 inches exactly, is my property on our side. I mean, I tried to be civil and respectful with my neighbors behind me. I really did. And I even said, hey, we'll start over again, try to shake the man's hand, shake the woman's hand. They weren't having it. I said, I ain't got time for it. I have 6 kids to take care of. Have a nice day. There's nothing more I can do. I can only do what I can do to be nice.
So any idea when your court case is?
We have nothing yet. We were actually, me and my wife discussed it. We were trying to figure out, so this pool issue that we're discussing here now tonight actually has, in my mind, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel it has anything to do with the variance we're asking for, because the variance we're asking for is on the main side of the street. The issue we're having is with the behind me. So if anything, we actually would be adding 2 more feet to the property because it's actually my property. But that, whether when we go to court or not, either way, no matter what, it's gonna become our property. It was already said, we already talked to lawyers and all. It was already consultation. So for the most part, I'm not too concerned about that issue. My main goal is to try to get a pool. And I didn't think them 2 issues coincided because one's on the main side of the road and one's behind me. They honestly have nothing to do with each other. Besides the civil matter, there's nothing at all. I even talked to the police officers and the township here, and I said, is there anything the township can do here about encroachment? And they said, no, it's a civil matter outside here. They will not handle nothing. The only thing that we possibly could do is ask the township and say there is encroachment. There is things that I don't know if they have permits or not. I was told they did not. But they still have their stuff on mine. Their fence is butt up against my fence, 2 feet worth. They have everything. They had sheds on my property and all. And I literally reported, said, listen, it's not right. I asked them to move it. They didn't listen to me, so I said, I'm going to report you then. I told them word for word, and which I did. So this is the only reason why it's like I said, to me, it's not something I really want to deal with, to be honest with you. It's just nothing more than extra stress. It really is. Nobody wants to go to work, come home, and have to deal with this at their own home. It's not right. I shouldn't have to.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I do. You mentioned sewer easements.
Yes,
This wouldn't
it's not going to
lie
be,
on any of that? or
no,
anything? I
because
do
the
see
sewer
the plot
easement's
plan.
on the opposite side.
Did we supply you guys with a plot plan of our property? I'd like to show you if you don't mind. I mean, I'd be awesome.
I don't have it. They have it.
Okay, so if you look on the plot plan, you can see, if I can,
I can see it to the left.
Okay.
I was just wondering, do you have any easement issues?
No.
not at all.
No, it's on the other
No,
side.
we already had the gentleman come out there, he measured, our sheds are not in the way.
I'm not saying the pool,
No.
any other easement issues
Oh.
concerning.
Oh, no, we addressed them with them. We had to rip out a bush.
Yeah,
We
I
ripped out a bush. We had to get a new cap for our thing. And then he had to measure the shed, and he came out and measured the shed, and he's actually going off of
Our home.
yeah, he measured the home to make sure everything was fine, and he said it was fine.
Any other questions from the board? So go ahead. I'm sorry.
The only question I have is the pending litigation, does that prohibit us from making this decision?
It does not prohibit you. You can take judicial notice that there is the hearing, the docket, the filed court case now, and then rule based on or decide how you're going to rule, if you want to wait until that litigation is over or not. I also just caution the property owners that if there is any approval, it's also conditioned upon what may happen. And although you're stating that the boundary dispute doesn't involve the area where the
Right.
pool is, if for some reason the court decides that the boundary or the pool or anything inhibits the boundary line, then you take the, you take the property at your risk in the sense that you're put at the pool.
Right.
And if they say up in the higher court that you can't have the pool because of any boundary disputes, then you would have to
The pool
remove
would
the
be
pool.
inside our fence, the boundary issue's on the outside of the fence.
I don't
Yeah.
know how the court would rule or
Oh,
what may
okay.
come up during that litigation. So, but there is litigation now, so this board can state that they want to take notice of that litigation and wait till the boundary dispute is resolved.
Okay, so let me follow up with another question. If we approve it and they put the pool in, then there is a boundary issue. They have to remove the pool?
If
And
the
then,
courts rule that the boundary line and the dispute goes against them in some way that affects the area where the pool will be, then they're not gonna be allowed to have the pool because of the boundary line. So essentially, the courts would have higher jurisdiction or take.
But that would be, that's
Take
8 foot inside or,
I'm just explaining, you know,
I
I
see what you're
see
saying.
your
She's
diagram.
absolutely right what she's saying. You really are.
I see what you're saying.
So, and the only thing I have to say, and like I said, I fully understand what you said, I'm well aware, and I will take full responsibility if you guys approve it. The only thing I will say is, at the point in time, the fence right now that we have, as like I said before, got a permit, it's exactly the same location as the old fence was. And there was a variance permitted back in 2003. So if anything, even if the higher courts say, no, that's not your property, the fence doesn't move. It's still, I mean, it's in a state, it's still my property either way. All that does is make me lose 2 feet of my property outside my fence. So it really doesn't have any effect on this pool issue today. So, like I said, as far as it goes, I have a lawyer, he's in Trevose, Pennsylvania. So I have to do another consultation with him, discuss what we're doing. What I was told was we can do a letter, a certified letter stating, please remove your property off mine, and then send them a part of my plot plan to verify that is this. They've already talked to my surveyor, excuse me, the neighbors behind me already talked to my surveyor. He already made them well aware that this is our property, per the surveyor. He made them aware, do not remove the pins, do not remove the stakes that are in the ground. So they're very well aware, and they also are well aware that all the trees, they planted arborvitaes in their backyard along my fence. And as they were doing it, my surveyor was there, I said, excuse me, and my wife was there too. She says, the surveyor told you this property here is my property. It's there for me to maintain my property. Now, if you guys are interested, I'll show you pictures of me trying to pressure wash my fence and how this issue started. I was told, get off this property. I said, I am on the sidewalk, number one, and this is my property to maintain, number two. I said, okay, you want to cause an issue? Well, the courts handles what I said to them, because I knew it was going to be an issue.
We were gonna let it go. We just
were-
wanted to
we were actually
clean
gonna
our, we just wanted to.
One at a time, please.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
We were gonna let everything go. We just wanted to power wash the fence and not have, they put like this barrier up against our fence, which is gonna create a moisture barrier, which is gonna rot the fence. So,
We paid $7,000 for this fence, and I don't want to pay $7,000 fence being destroyed. That's why I asked them. Even when I was out there, he asked me, he said, can I pressure wash the fence? I said, I'd rather you not, it's a cedar fence. Could you let me do it? And his wife, to be honest with you, he gave me an attitude, he said, I don't want you on my property. I said, it's not your property. She said, I'm going to paint your fence. I said, ma'am, you're not going to paint my fence. It's not going to happen. I said, I will clear it. I said, I'll pressure wash it and clear coat it. That's what I want to do. And then it kind of be a big issue. And I said, okay, I'm done.
Mr. Scott, anything to add?
We try
Sorry.
to keep all of our ducks in a row. So if there's any paperwork information you need for any of us, from me and or her, we probably have everything you need. There's not one thing we probably do not have. So if you need it, let me know what you need. I have everything from emails to new plot plans to surveyors to measurements to pictures to everything. Even violations. I had a light violation. I had to turn my light. It was encroaching supposedly. I even had that. I have everything possible you guys need.
So if this board doesn't feel right about passing this because of your litigation, are you?
willing to let it go? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
I'm
our kids they've been home since March of,
I'm not saying,
I'm just,
Can you rephrase the question? I didn't understand you.
like, we feel, I'm speaking for myself, I feel uncomfortable about the court case you have against you right now, whether it's for the
It's
boundaries
not
near the
filed
pools or,
It's not filed yet.
okay.
nothing's filed. This is only a dispute between us two.
And a consultation.
Sorry.
Sorry, again. Go ahead.
There's nothing filed. It's just a neighborly dispute at this point. That's
But I
it.
thought you said it was in Doylestown.
No, I said that we need to file it with Doylestown, that when we called over to Wagner's office, they said you need to file it with Doylestown, that we don't handle it. So we haven't filed anything yet. This is just a neighborly dispute.
We should have the record reflect that there was the email received
Oh, okay.
from
Yeah, Deidre,
Deidre Kuhn,
right.
Yeah, she's a neighbor.
Yeah.
the neighbor, objecting, yes. Deidre, Kuhn, Kuhn.
I'm not gonna read, the email's pretty lengthy, and, I don't think I need to read it for the record. You just state that she did send us an email in objection to this application.
We
We're
knew.
well aware this was gonna happen, so I'm not shocked in any kind of way.
All right. If there's no other questions from the board, is anybody in the audience like to come up for or against this project? Against the project, for the project? You gotta come on up, please.
Excuse me.
My name is Diane Wrights. I'm very familiar with Red Cedar Hill. I've lived there since 1957, and I do not object to the pool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've never been here before.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be that you have given, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Ed, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I guess if there's no actual litigation, that my question is moot.
All right, so this time, I'm going to ask for a motion for or against this project.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I need a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. I say no. You got it, though. Either one.
That was yay or nay?
No, you,
Yay.
2-1, you won.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Take care, thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Family Services, 4 Cornerstone Drive, Langhorne, PA, 19047. Please come on up.
Before we begin, do you have the proof that the the property owners were noticed of the hearing with the green cards and certification?
Yes, I emailed those per the letter to, I can look in my email, but I sent it prior to the end of May.
Okay.
We had to put, yes, we had to post by June 1st to meet the 2-week deadline, and we posted before Memorial Day. Yes,
Can you, do you recall who you emailed those to? Ken Fetterman?
I think that's it. It was, we picked up the note, I picked up the notices here, and it was, it said to email or to scan an email or to mail with certified, so I scanned and emailed.
Yeah, I mean, I know it would be him, but he just asked me to ask. He didn't see that, so.
Oh.
What is your name, please?
Michelle Evans?
Can you resend those, just so we're sure that we have those?
Yes, I can access them from my phone too, at my work email, if you need to see them now.
That would be fine if you would like to send them to me.
Okay. Do you want me to do that? I'll
Please.
just step away.
So we're sure. Here's my card with my email.
Good evening. While Michelle's doing that, I can get us started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth,
Yes. Good evening. My name is John Katsouris. I'm with Carroll Engineering. I'm representing Family Services. I just wanted to, Michelle is really here to kind of give a base of the project. As you all are probably aware, this is a homeless shelter. The variance that we're asking for in relief, which I know you've all seen the plans, but I brought a blow up and we actually have it on the screen as well.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
So I need to take this off.
That would be better, but I'm not.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello? Hello?
Is there a green light on it?
Green light's on, yeah, you can hear me, right? I'll carry it with me. So the variance we're requesting, as you see, these are the two new modular units, which have gone on mainly because of COVID. The purpose of these are because if there's a family that is diagnosed with COVID and needs to be separated, there are two now units that they can go into for isolation, and they're also going to be used in the future should any reason come up where families who are in the shelter are sick or need to be isolated for any reason. They can come now into these two self-sustaining structures. The variance we're requesting, there's a rear setback line of 30 feet, and we're asking for a 15-foot relief. So we're asking for that to become now a 15-foot rear setback line. And again, I just wanted Michelle to just kind of get up, let you guys know, Family Shelter, it's a nonprofit. It's obviously here for the homeless in the area, for them to all have a safe place for them to go. So this is a project that most of us are doing all this as much as we can as pro bono. The township has been graceful to help us with a lot of the applications, waiving some of the fees. We've been very grateful and thankful to everyone throughout the process. And while Michelle continues with the email, I will just ask you guys if you have any questions.
I have one question, and I did a little research, obviously. Can you tell me if the existing water lines that run underneath these two new units are going to be removed?
The sections of the water lines that are under the units are, and we're tying into them, and you can see them on the plans where the new utilities are.
I did see that. I just
Yep.
want to make sure they were already removed.
They are, yes.
I don't have any questions. Sorry.
Thank you. Not quite as tall. My name is Michelle Evans. I work for Family Service Association. As John mentioned, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We are the owner and operator of the Bucks County Emergency Homeless Shelter, which is at 7301 New Falls Road. And so that shelter is the only emergency homeless shelter in the county and serves individuals and families. We serve approximately 400 individuals a year, with about half of those being children under the age of 18. And we have a variety of different family compositions. So we have separate rooms where sometimes we may need to house a family with teenage boys that aren't eligible to be in the women's dorm. The women with children and male children under 14 are all housed together. And then the adult males are separate in a separate dorm area. But it is a dorm style setting, and so everyone is together in one room, males together, and then women with children also together. And so facing COVID, we needed a place where we would be able to quarantine if somebody was exposed or if somebody had tested positive. So that's how this project came about. And then looking forward beyond COVID, we also have other things that come up through the year. We may have a child that catches lice, and so we would have to remove that family from the dorm setting. They have to be relocated temporarily until that situation resolves so that that isn't contagious to another family. There's people that have MRSA or other compromising health issues, and sometimes they have to be quarantined for a short time. And so this project allows us to be able to have a space to accommodate that family or those individuals where it has a kitchen, so they would be able to still access our meals from the facility and access those services, but they would have that ability to be self-contained within that unit. Any questions?
Sounds logical to me.
Anybody from the board have any questions for Ms. Evans? Mr. Scott, anything to add?
The property line in question is one that's shared with the tech school?
No, the property line where the project is actually backs up to the EMS property. So it's a field behind the EMS that runs along New Falls Road.
So it's,
The tech school is on this side of the property.
so the property line is the one that you share where the rescue squad is located?
Yes.
How far away would these buildings be from the rescue squad building?
That's a good question.
100 feet, 5 feet,
I have no idea. I don't-
between
I don't
5 and 100? I'm being serious.
It's over 15.
Well, presuming it's not, they're not on the property line, then you're gonna be at least 15, right?
Right, exactly. But I mean, I have an aerial image here.
That's all right, we don't, unless the board wants to know, I was just curious.
No, please, get your answer.
It looks
Yeah.
like we're at least 50, and I mean, this is all just grass.
Mhm.
So this is our property line, but color changes. You can see the fence. So the building going here, and then we have 15 feet more property line, and then at least 50 plus feet. And unfortunately, I don't have the data to that back property.
Excuse me, do you want to mark that so that we can have it for the record? You're
She's
gonna
talking to
submit
you.
that? Mr. Scott, would you like that to have in the
Uh,
file? We can
That's
admit
not,
it.
I thank you, but that's, I don't, doesn't,
Minute,
Word?
Exhibit A?
doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about it, we might as well
Absolutely.
have it. That's fine, you can pass that along to your members.
And I have one more question.
Continue, Mr. Scott.
This question has absolutely nothing to do with zoning, so if you want to gavel me down, that's fine, but I'm just curious. There was a presentation in front of council about 8 or 9 months ago from the county. I think Attorney Frank Sullivan was there. This was related to, I think, to some, the CARES funding? Is that what it was?
The same project.
This is the same project?
This is the same project.
All right, so did it take 9 months, 8 months to fabricate these, or?
Yeah, it was.
That's my question.
Yes, COVID shut down the facilities, and so it impacted how quickly they were able to manufacture, and so that seriously impacted the timeline.
Thank you. I would like that one marked. That was,
Record.
all right. Well, we haven't been together in a while, so we have to establish that, that rhythm we used to have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
It's not happening today. Okay, Colleen.
Mr. Scott, this one's for you. I know that the buildings are already there. They've been erected or installed.
I didn't know that, are they?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
I was wondering if there was any hesitation from your department, whether we should continue.
Continue what?
Or, well, to,
Grant the variance.
for the variance.
No, I mean, I probably should have been aware that these are now going to be considered permanent additions, right? Instead of temporary, and I thought they were temporary. But,
The latest plan that we submitted does, originally, we thought they were all temporary, so the latest plan does now state that they're modular units. It does not say temporary, so I think you can see it on your screen, but yeah, they're permanent.
yeah, I mean, most people, you got to drag them to council kicking and screaming. I think these guys have been there like 3 or 4 times with the project, so it's all approved.
Okay. Anybody from the audience would like to come up? Please, come on up.
Do I swear in again? My name is Diane Reitz. Reitz, R-E-I-T-Z. I'm a longtime resident, obviously. I grew up in Red Cedar Hill, live still on the same street. My husband's business is at 5 Points. I walk past this area at least 4 times a week. I walk 5 to 6 miles a day. I can tell you that I did not see this sign requesting the variance until yesterday, nor did a majority of my neighbors, who unfortunately could not be here tonight. We were not apprised of an expansion of anything going on. They looked through notices, didn't see anything. This may be fine, and I feel bad for anyone who's homeless. And my background, I am a nurse. I can certainly appreciate the need to isolate, but I do feel that the community that I live in needs to be fully aware and have time to absorb this and be part of the decision as whether or not this should occur or not. The sign that was posted on March, according to the date, is May 21st. I had to literally open it to read what the yellow sign said. I doubt that many of my neighbors walk the distance I do every day. It is very close to this tech school. The fencing around this property is lean. It's not as stable as one would like. That entire area close to the tech school is really in jeopardy because of the homeless that gather in the woods there. It has nothing to do with the people in the shelter, I think. I see multiple things on the tech school property. I don't know how the people are screened going in there, nor do my neighbors. I just feel like you need to think about this, and that the community that I live in and my husband's business is deserves more notice and more understanding of what your plan is, their plan is for our community. And it is our community, and it has impacted our area. We just had multiple homes built there in Red Cedar. I'm not sure how this is going to affect the water, the sewer, the drainage. I don't know anything. All I know is when I was walking yesterday, I saw the yellow sign and went over and opened it to read it, and that's why I'm here tonight. So I object to it.
Let me ask you a question. When you seen the sign, did it look like it was there brand new? Or did it look like it was weathered?
Do you want to see a picture of it?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to.
You can see I had to unfold it.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'll just have it noted that I did receive an email which was forwarded from Ms. Evans that was to Ken Fetterman, solicitor, on Thursday, May the 27th at 3:52 p.m., whereby she provided Mr. Fetterman with the notice to the property owners and also a picture that the property was properly noticed.
That was on what date?
That was
May
on
27th, you said,
I'm
21st?
sorry, I just lost that. That was on May the 27th, yes, and there's two pictures, let me just show you. There's one picture that is on, one notice that is on the Family Services
Library
Way sign, and then one that appears to be on a side of a building.
right. Okay.
The Library Way one is, I guess, the one I saw. Very few people walk past there. It's that way is where the old Thykol building is, behind the government buildings. I can tell you I might see, except for the homeless people that are walking in and out of the woods, very few people going down that way. Although it says it has to be in a conspicuous place for the public to be able to see. If you drove by there, you would never be able to read it. And certainly walking by there multiple times every week, I did not notice it until yesterday.
Ms. Evans, can you speak to any concerns that she may have?
Yes, some. So for the sign that I think that you noticed, we posted that so that it's along the road so that it would be easier because the building does sit far back I'd say, I'm not good with distance, a couple hundred feet back from the road. So the other picture is actually on the front of the building. And following the directions that were with the notice, it said in a conspicuous space on the front of the building. So we put on the front of the building and then also the sign at the road to try to make it easier for people to see if they were looking. I didn't know other notifications. And to answer your question, just to give you some background about screening for the homeless, it's actually a county process, and so anyone facing a housing crisis calls the county 800 number, which is our housing link number, and so they call the 800 number. It screens and goes through to determine your level of homelessness, whether you're about to be homeless or you're literally homeless in the street or in your car. There's a process that they go through, and then they're put on a wait list, and then from the wait list, our shelter staff screen them. So we re-screen them to make sure that they are still literally homeless, they don't have any place to go. We do run a Megan's Law and Drusogen background check to make sure that there's no sexual offenders, because we are a family shelter, we do have children, and we are in proximity to a school. So other than that, we are a low barrier shelter. We are trying to make sure that they are sheltered temporarily until they can find housing. And so the goal is to house them in the shelter for 60 days, provide them with case management services, nursing services, get them linked with employment, and then hopefully transition them into their own apartment. I will say also, this should not increase the capacity. This is really, while we have the ability to house an additional family or two with this unit, it would not substantially change the population that we're, this isn't going to increase.
These are just for quarantine purposes.
They're for quarantine purposes. So while we have additional available beds, and the county sometimes mandates kind of what our per capita is with housing for the shelter, this would be a maximum of 2 families.
How long you guys been there for?
So the shelter was built in 1989,
Right.
and Family Service took it over. We took over management in 2012.
Have you had any problems since? Any issues with neighbors, problems with?
There have been issues with the property in between the tech school. There's a wooded area, and so the county, but it is county property or township property. I apologize, I get that confused. But there was an effort to clear out the wooded area, because there were, they would congregate, so they would be off property so that they would.
Well, they're just gonna find another wooded area to go to.
Yes, and then with this, we were impacted with COVID. We were limited in how many people we could bring in. And so there has been a congregation of, I would say, additional homeless people in the woods across the street, which may be where you're referencing as well. That's the tech school, but in front of the shelter. And while that is also not something that we encourage, we know that has been an increase since COVID, because we've been limited in how many extra people we could bring in.
I do observe issues, and I feel bad saying it, but you do see, even in front of the JP's office, homeless laying there. There's a veterans memorial there. There are homeless laying there on the benches day and night. They are congregating in front of the library. They lay in the cemetery at Emily Methodist Church behind the tombstones. There are needles. There are multiple things. Of course, you can't connect it to the homeless shelter, but you do see them walk. I have seen them walking down the street to the homeless shelter, down the way. Again, my issue is that I am representing myself and the neighbors I spoke with. However, they were not aware of any expansion. It is, red cedar apple tree is growing in leaps and bounds. There are so many children and things in the neighborhood. Many of us would take in a person, and we have, who needed a shelter. However, in this case, we feel like we're being blindsided and have a notice up on a street that nobody walks on, or the front of the building that you can't see We don't feel, I do not feel, I can't speak for people who aren't here, but I do not feel that's proper notice, and we need to be informed, and part of, it's probably fine, but don't put something up that even I, who pass it all the time, don't know. And my neighbors clearly had no idea, especially the ones, my house is a bus stop. None of the parents knew this was going on. So I just think they need to know more, and I object to it being approved at this time.
Well, I believe they did everything legally that they needed to do. Is that correct, Mr. Scott?
Yeah, they did, as I said, based on the May 27th email to Mr. Fetterman, they did provide the proper notice.
Jim, can I say something?
Absolutely, Colleen, go ahead.
Ms. Reeds, according to their plans, they're replacing that fencing that you're concerned about. It's not an expansion, it's just more of, because you said you're not taking any more people in, it's more of just another, per se, a hub to where people who can't be in the general place will be going to just for a short, brief period of time. So you're not taking any more people in. So I understand where you're coming from, however, their plans, they do, like I said, say they're gonna replace the existing fencing. I'm sure it's gonna look nice when they're all done.
Well, they're asking for permanent, not temporary due to COVID. And what is the plan for the safety of not only us in the neighborhood, for those people that are not in direct visual access of the supervising staff of the homeless shelter, and what is the security for those in those buildings, because those who are in there as a victim of abuse in their homes or whatever brings them to there, I truly do not feel, as a resident of Red Cedar Hill, educated enough to feel safe that the permanent addition of these two buildings will ensure safety for the residents there, nor my neighborhood. And I don't feel that even though they did what was legally required, were we notified? I don't believe we were. I know we weren't, because if I passed it every day and I couldn't see it, then it's not clear.
Tom, where else is this posted? In the in the Courier, Facebook, like the zoning notice for this meeting?
The agenda, this document,
Yes.
is run in the Courier Times 2 weeks, or it appears twice 2 weeks prior to the meetings. And then, it's on the township's Facebook page and the website. You click the link.
Go ahead, sir.
I just also wanted to ask to make sure that we stay on topic, that we're dealing more with the issue of this variance as opposed to all the other issues, the safety issues. Let's just stay on topic and try to get through this if we could, please.
I'm trying.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Evans.
I just also wanted to speak to some of your safety concerns. So we do have case management on site. Family Service has a variety of services. And so our goal, if we encounter somebody that appears to be intoxicated or under the influence of substance or alcohol, we do drug test, we do encourage treatment, and that is really the ultimate goal, is to link them with treatment so that we can put a stop to the behavior. It's not like, we're trying to leave the person or, turn a blind eye to anything. So we do try to link them and give them the support necessary, and if that isn't the case, then they are discharged if they're not engaged in treatment. So we do, because they're housed with children. So we also want to make sure that those other residents are safe. It's staffed 24/7. We have 2 to 4 people at various times in the evenings and then overnight on the holidays. And then there's a supervisor that we're in the process of rehiring. There was some turnover, but we have a supervisor that's there in the evenings and on weekends. And then there's a full staff during the day as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right, one more time.
Again, this is an issue of the variance, the posting of the variance for us to be able to see it. It is an expansion, not a temporary expansion in an emergency situation. This is permanent.
But they posted their zoning notices. They mailed out their zoning notices. They did what they were supposed to do. Whether you guys seen it or not, that isn't. The construction of these two modules makes a difference. This place has been there since 1989.
I know it has, and it has been, and it's getting bigger. And they want to make it bigger, permanent. It's not a temporary thing for an emergency. They want to make it permanent, bigger. And I feel as a resident, I'm entitled.
I think it is for emergency purposes. It's emergency purposes because they're quarantining people there. They're not permanent beds for these people. They're putting them there if they have, like she said, MRSA or lice or, COVID. That's what they're there for. And then they go into the general population after their quarantine is over.
I know that. And if they decide that, okay, we don't need the quarantine, they're not going to use it for anything else. I truly do not feel that as a community, although they followed all the rules, we were notified, we don't feel, I'm speaking for my neighborhood, I'm speaking for my husband, that notice where no one walks, and on the front of a building that's over 100 feet from the highway, that small, is not a notice, it's conspicuous notice that people can see and attest to. As far as being printed in the Courier Times, I don't even get my paper 2 days a week, so.
So that the sign where the other zoning notice was posted, how far is that away from where you walk?
I walk past it a couple times a week, and until I went over to the pole and opened it up, I had no idea what it was, because there's often signs posted there. This is not a dump area because they dump stuff there for the homeless. I see buses on.
But it wasn't just posted at the building. It was posted outside, closer to the street where people could see.
I wouldn't call that a street. It's a driveway.
Walk down there.
I do. Okay. Yeah, I do, but there's never anyone there.
And
most of the time during school days, you cannot drive past there. And if you drove past there, you couldn't read it. If someone requests a zoning variance in their home, you can see that. You can't see this from New Falls Road. The address is New Falls Road. You cannot read that variance as you go down that road, that variance request. There is no way, and even maybe with binoculars, you could see it.
Ms. Evans, you received a list as to who you had to notify pursuant to the notice rules, and that's who you sent the actual notices to?
Yes, it said adjoining property owners, and so that was the Bucks County Free Library, it's the Rescue Squad, and then it's the Tech High School.
Okay. So I think we're done here. So I need a motion to deny or accept this application.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. I'm going to call the board.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Now I need a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.